All right, guys. So in line with my Swiss train mentality to be on time, welcome to Roll with the Fox, episode 1. Hope you guys like it. What I'd envision from this is for people to have sort of an interactive experience where we go over techniques. Some of the things we're going to go over fairly quickly. Some of the things we can go over in greater details, or strategies on how to deal with things in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, whether it's how to deal with bigger, stronger opponents or how to deal with your training schedule. This is the first one, so I got some questions in advance, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this for about, the target to have this is about 30 to 40 minutes. Certain things I'm going to go over quickly. There's apparently about a minute delay from the time I say something or show something to the time you guys see it. So don't hesitate to post comments. I have Frank on my side here to read the comments to me, as you know, so we can clarify or explain in greater detail some of the things. So I'm going to go over 3 kind of technique questions, and then we're going to go over more strategies, and we'll see where this goes. If you have clarifications, don't hesitate to comment. One, you're going to have to stop rubbing your belly because you're distracting my attention span. So guys, the first question is from Ratul Mukherjee from India. Hopefully he's online as well. And his first question was, is there other submissions from top of cross side besides sort of arm triangles and I'm not sure.
Americana.
And Americana. All right. So yeah, there certainly are. Some of my favorite are. So when I get top of cross side, so it depends how the person reacts. Okay. So when I get on top of cross side, and guys, we're going to talk about strategies against bigger and stronger opponents. If I get on top of cross side of a bigger and stronger opponent, we're going to go over that in greater detail. Don't just hold. When you just hold, the bigger and stronger opponent will get his frame in, get his grips, and at some point he's going to roll right through you, okay? So what you want to do is make sure you keep swimming your hands and keep changing your grips, because every time you change your grips, he has to change his. But one of my favorite things, especially if the guy has a good frame from top of cross side, is to swim the hand that's closer to his hip, swim it in, and do a NoGi baseball bat choke. Obviously, you can do the gi or you can do the NoGi. I chose NoGi for today because a lot of the questions were related to sort of NoGi or MMA. So that's why we're doing NoGi today. Just those of you that know my game tends to use universal grips. What I mean by that whether I'm training with the gi or NoGi, I tend to, yes, I will grip the gi, so forth, but if I'm gripping, for example, the hand, I'd rather grip the wrist than the sleeve. Same thing, I grip the Achilles rather than the pant legs, all right? So let's look at, again, the NoGi baseball bat choke. So on top of cross side, guys, a lot of times I will swim my hands to change things up so he can never set himself. When I'm ready, the hand that's closer to his hip is gonna swim in, connect palm to palm, and now I bring my top elbow to the floor, and you get a strong choke, okay? So that's one of my favorite top of cross side submissions, especially in NoGi. With the gi, you would take the grip inside the gi and do the same thing, all right? So it's either this connection or this connection. Another one of my favorite things is to take, when you're on top of cross side, obviously you can mount to improve your position, but one of my other favorite things is to swim for the arm lock. Notice how I'm controlling his head. So Enrique can't really move, but the minute I remove the cross face, he will turn to his side, so he will kind of give it to me. I will pivot to the far side and hit him with a far side arm lock. Okay? So that's another one of my favorite top of cross side submissions. So especially if the guy's trying to turn into you, I swim. When I swim for that arm, guys, I never take my weight off him. Notice how my chest is glued to him. because that serves as a stop. So if Enrique starts to turn towards me, I can always push him back down with my chest, or at least this is where I want to stop him. So I want him to turn to my side. So once I swam in, I'm going to let his head go. This is what people do once you remove that cross face. Now, I'm not popping up. I'm just sliding in into an arm lock, okay? So that's another possible submission from top of cross side. This is one of my favorites. So the guy sets up a good cross face. I switch my arms. And I go north-south. As I go north-south, notice Enrique's right arm popping out. So it pops up behind me because what he's looking for is to bust out the back way. So I know that's a possibility. But as soon as his arm pops out, I'm going to windshield wiper my legs and set into an extremely tight same side arm lock. This is one of my favorites. Guys, be very careful with this one. This one has a very strong braking power, and usually your training partner does not expect this. So let's look at it again. So even though he has a traditional bottom of cross side frame, he's ready to escape, I'm going to turn and let him think that he's going to be busting out the back way. But as soon as that arm pops, I prevent him from doing that by flaring out my left elbow, so it gives me additional base. So I'm going to windshield wiper my legs in, and you have very strong arm lock. Guys, this is extremely powerful. Okay? So these are some of the 3 possible techniques you can use from top of cross side. If you have any questions, if any questions came on those 3, I'd be happy to address them. If not, then I'm gonna, move on to the next technique question. Frank?
I don't have questions as of yet. Ratul says hello, so he did see it.
Okay. So now, again, this is another sort of answer to Ratul Mukherjee's question. I'm not quite sure, Ratul, what do you mean by Silver Fox armbar and Silver Fox triangle? But his question is regarding how do I prevent a strong guy, once I commit to either arm lock or triangle from my guard? How do I prevent them from posturing up and stacking? This is a very, very important question. And as you guys know, if you've seen some of the other videos I've done, a triangle is not just a submission, but also a form of control. However, in order for a triangle to function as such, you need to make sure that you truly use it as a form of control. Now, how do we do that? So as I control Enrique, so for example, I did not lock up a proper triangle. Right now, this is a pretty bad triangle. All right? Are we still in frame?
Yes.
So what prevents Enrique from posturing up? This is very easy. Okay? Very easy for him to posture up. It's bringing my knees to my chest. So when I bring my knees to my chest, this prevents even a very strong guy from posturing up. Right now, Enrique is not giving me a traditional triangle, which I would like to hit him with. So I will hit him with a reverse triangle. Now again, if I try to push away, that is a mistake that beginners sometimes make, whether it's a reverse triangle or a traditional triangle. When they lock it up, they push away. That's what gives your opponent posture. This is what you want to avoid. So anytime you have a triangle, reverse straight, you want to be bringing your knees to your chest and curling up. First of all, this increases your constriction power, but also, just as importantly, it prevents a very strong guy from posturing up. So knees to your chest and squeeze, okay? So again, you slap on a triangle. Guys, first thing is knees to your chest, knees to your chest. You can make adjustments, and the knees to your chest, again, it doesn't matter whether it's reverse, straight. I keep drawing my knees to the chest. It's very, very important. Anytime you sort of relax, the posturing comes very easy to him. Then I have to switch to an arm lock, Or if you miss it, he's going to pass your guard. So, yeah, this is a guard pass. Go ahead. Now I'm battling from bottom of cross side. So again, lift me up. Lift me up, Enrique. I thought you lifting. Aren't you working out? So, I hope that answers your questions. How to keep somebody from posturing up. Ratul, interestingly enough, there is a difference between an arm lock and a triangle. In an arm lock, I want the guy to posture up. I don't want the guy to crush me down. In a triangle, it's exactly the opposite. So what that does is if you catch somebody in a triangle, you can interplay the triangle and arm lock depending on whether you can stop them from posturing up. Anytime, don't let your opponent dictate what you're gonna, what they want you to play. If I had a triangle, I will try to bring him down to make sure I control his posture to finish the triangle. However, if the guy is so strong and puts so much effort into posturing up, I will switch to an arm lock. But by then, it's handed to me on a platter. The guy has to bring, so by definition, if his hands are on the mat, okay, he doesn't have good posture, I will continue to squeeze a triangle. The one way that he can actually battle his broken posture is to bring his hands onto my torso, which raises their hands about 10, 12 inches, and posture up. So when they do that, now the arm is fully extended. It also means they're defending my triangle. But you should make that difficult for them. Don't just kind of like switch from one thing willy-nilly. Make sure your opponent hands you that secondary submission on a platter. You do not want to sort of switch arm lock, because if you mistime this, he will escape and he will pass your guard. So let's look at what I'm talking about. So I hit Enrique with a triangle. So I'm going to squeeze. I'm going to continue to squeeze. His posture is broken. I'm going to continue to squeeze. I'm not going to switch to an arm lock. I'm not going to switch to an arm lock. I will switch to an arm lock. When his arm reaches the full extension, that's when I'm switching into an arm lock. So again, I hit him with a triangle, and I'm intent to finish. This is my intention. Good. Yeah, he can't get up. All right, guys. If somebody bigger tries to lift you up, I go under the armpit, and once his legs get close, I go under the leg. Okay. I've done this with 300-pound guys. I have yet to have somebody pick me up. I'm sure there's somebody that could actually do it, but I'm pretty sure he'll be choked out by the time he actually postures up. So again, I intend to finish right here. Not yet. Not yet. Yet. This is done because he fully extended his arm, but that's when my triangle starts to break. And you can do this back and forth with your training partners. So his response to a triangle is posture, which is an arm lock. His response to an arm lock, compression, which is a triangle. So you can go back and forth. Ratul, you had another question. Again, your question was, how do we get better at triangle omoplatas and arm locks from the guard? Drill. Just drill. You know, people love to train hard and roll, and I do too as well, but you do need to drill, especially when you're adding new or more technical aspects to your game. You need to drill those to get them to a point where they have to be an autopilot, where it doesn't matter how high a level guy, when they give you the opportunity or when you create the circumstances for that opportunity, you hit him with that particular technique. You cannot do that without drilling. Okay? If there's any other questions on this particular sequence, I can address them right now. Otherwise, we're going to move on to a third technical question.
one question is, so the arm being across the body is secondary to the posture, in your opinion?
Very good question. Very good question. So, guys, I'm not the biggest guy necessarily, but when I get somebody, when I triangle somebody, I really don't care if they bury the arm, because if I take a big guy, and Enrique's not that big, but he's trying to pretend he is today at least. So, anyways, in order for me to bring his arm across the body, look what I have to do. That's enough of a posture for a big guy to run with this. I hope I finish him with an arm lock, but that's not guaranteed. Okay? If you manage to hit a 250-pound guy with a triangle and he buries his arm, squeeze, guys. It'll work. It doesn't matter. You can finish somebody with that arm buried. I'd rather take the chance that I'm going to finish somebody with his arm buried than give him posture and have them possibly escape. So again, yes, by having somebody's arm across, of course it makes the choke tighter. Yeah, if I had my druthers. But guess what? Any experienced guy that has trained for even just a year or 6 months, the minute you slap on a triangle, they bury that arm. They know that's their sort of way to salvation. Or is it? Bury your arm. It doesn't matter. Let's do it one more time on the other side. It doesn't matter. You don't necessarily, it's better to constrict both carotids, but you don't need full both carotid constriction. If you constrict one of them enough, he will go out or tap. So you can also reinforce if you need to, especially for MMA. You have those nice smooth gloves. You can always reinforce that with your hand on the carotid that he's kind of open with his own shoulder. All right? So let's move on to the next question. I think it's, let me just slide off briefly, guys. It's from Akash Rawat, again from India. And what we're going to do is, what happens, especially in MMA, if you let somebody slide up into a very high mount. Okay? So when somebody, first of all, guys, when you get mounted, even if you have to commit. So if this is not a high mount, but as soon as somebody mounts, you got to commit. You might, in MMA, obviously you're going to take punishment. But if you don't commit to an escape, you're going to sit here and you're going to just take continuous punishment, which is non-sustainable. All right? But Enrique slid up. And Akash said that he's got short legs. But, you know, when you're up here, this is a really bad place. So you can't, there's no hesitation. You're not going to get the guy back down, all right? But anytime somebody postures to hit you, I would be more concerned about elbows than fists, all right? But immediately, if somebody slides up here, guys, I'm actually going to try to push them forward, and I'm going to come out the back way. Now, if you got short legs, guys, you don't necessarily, you know, people struggle with this, and they try to get both feet under. You don't need both feet. Just get one. And then you're going to come out the back way. Oh, what do we got here? All right? Guys, I'm not concerned about the submission right off that. I'm more concerned about you being able to escape. Okay? So let's look at it again. When this principle goes to pretty much every aspect of the defensive game. When the guy's loaded on your hips, use your hips, like bottom cross side, mount, bump him. When he slides up further up your torso, now your shoulders are pinned, but now your hips are free to move in different directions. So utilize that. But I found that to be a very effective escape. But you got to hit it as soon as the guy slides up, before he has a chance to kind of settle in and sort of recalibrate his base and his hips and start teeing off on you. Okay. So let's look at it again. And don't worry about getting both feet in. You just need one. All right, so as Enrique's sliding up, I'm going to push him. I'm going to get one of my feet in, ideally cross, And now I'm just gonna, if Enriquez sits tight, no, stay. Try to stay up. I may have to come out the back way. Okay? So, one of two things is gonna happen. Either he falls forward, or if he tries to stay, I'm coming out the back way. So let's do it 2 more times. Both. So I'm coming out the back way. Don't forget to look over your shoulder to make sure you don't hurt your neck. And you'll obviously have leg locks here. But again, I'm not concerned about that. I'm more concerned about you being able to escape. The second one is if he just falls forward. And now I'm gonna punish him for that. All right, guys? So that's some of the technical questions. Is there any sort of clarifications that are being requested on the stuff we've gone over so far?
There's a question, what makes a good armbar from the mount?
Oh yeah. What makes a good armbar from the mount? Pressure. All right, so pressure and angle. This way. So when I mount, I want to make sure that his arms slide up high. Okay. So as I mount, all right, I'm going to pick a side. If one of the arms is higher, I'm going to pick that side. If they're equally, you can pick whichever side you want. So I'm going to start to isolate one arm. This is where you're vulnerable to turn. That's why I'm leaning so heavily to my right side. All right. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch my leg. This is extremely strong. I feel this is very, very bad arm lock for Enrique, not for me. Most of my weight is in my sort of where the IT band is on the side of the leg. And that's right across his lower ribs. When you arm lock somebody from here, they're happy that you arm lock them because it allows them a way out of this extremely strong position. So that's how I arm lock people from the mount. You have to create the angle. Yeah. And make sure that they feel tremendous pressure. So you need to have your weight in this part of the leg and lean towards their head. I personally, when I arm lock people, I don't want to get off the mount. I will arm lock them while I'm still mounted. In case something goes awry, I still have a chance to do something rather than kind of slide in here and do one of these where the guy has a chance to spit out. Now I got to follow up. So again, when I mount people, I personally prefer to arm lock them from the mount. And your training partner, guys, should be breathing very belabored, very heavily, because the pressure, that's what I would focus on, is creating that angle and making sure that they feel the pressure from the side of your upper thigh. All right, because you will know. If they don't feel the pressure, you're doing it wrong. All right, how are we doing on time?
We have 7 minutes.
7 minutes left. All right. So guys, so these are some of the technical things. Again, the next one we're going to do is July 5th. That's first Friday in July. Same time. We're going to do the same thing first Friday of every month at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, which is New York time. So I went over some technical aspects. Hopefully they answer some of your questions. I got a lot of questions, so I can't answer all of them, guys. What I do want to go over now is I had questions from Valery Aronovsky from Russia, from from Andrei Gunel from Germany, and also Akash kind of had a similar question to that: is how do we deal with sort of bigger, stronger opponents? How do we deal with wrestlers? So it's sort of like a more strategy, tactics question as opposed to technical question. It's a very good question, and when I approach any move or any specific person's game, Jiu-Jitsu is about problem solving. And it is not intuitive, especially when you start out. As you train, it becomes more and more intuitive because it starts to make more and more sense, and you rewire your body to move in a certain way. But it is very logical. So I lumped the wrestlers into the same category as bigger, stronger guys. Because wrestlers are probably going to be stronger. They may not be bigger, but they're going to be strong, and they're going to be relentless. One of the most frustrating thing, again, if you're going against a good wrestler who has even a very short period of time in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, is their ability to squash any attacks. Just kind of sit there and wait for the opportunity. When you make a mistake, that's when they move. So for the high level guys, it is your job to engage that guy. He does not want to get engaged. If I'm an experienced Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy and I'm going with an elite wrestler that's been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a year, that guy is going to be really good and very difficult to put away. But if I sit there waiting for him to make a mistake, you're going to be basically playing patty cake for 5-10 minutes, unless you make a mistake and then he capitalizes on it. So what I usually try to do is bigger and stronger guys, I go after them. I push. I have literally done this to guys, and guys that have seen me train at Renzo's, and or some of my friends know that, like, if I'm going with a 250-pound guy, I'm going to push him into a wall. What do you think when he gets pushed into a wall by me? What do you think is going to happen? He's going to push back. And I'm looking for engagement. I'm looking for engagement on my terms. What do I mean by my terms? I want his head or I want his arms. Okay? With a wrestler, I know that given enough time, he will take me down. So I'm looking to get something off the takedown. I want to make sure that I have his head or arm off the takedown. It's easier said than done, especially if you don't expect that takedown or that particular kind of takedown. But I expect the takedown. I know it's going to happen. So what I'm looking for is, especially if I'm being taken down by a wrestler, I'm looking. So for example, I'm going to stand narrow. So I will not just kind of fold and like, oh crap, what am I going to do? That's the worst thing you can do, is like, oh. And now it's going to be like this. All right. So when I go, I'm gonna stand narrow. I'm gonna make him commit. Now I have a guillotine. I don't care if he takes me down now. Even a good wrestler, I will finish, or I will turn him. Okay. Now, if he takes me down in a different way, that maybe head on the inside, what I'm looking to do again is as he's coming in, fall far enough that I get some isolation. For example, arm. Okay? Now, once we're in guard, assuming that you got nothing, all right? So if I got nothing, what I'm going to be looking for is, generally speaking, I want his hands off my torso. Anytime somebody's hands are on my torso, he's got a good posture. So I'm looking, and that's going to be easier said than done, because you're going to keep looking for it. So I just need a brief imbalance, and now I'm going to look to go perpendicular. What's his next move? I know what his next move is. His next move has to be to regain posture, because he cannot do anything right here. This is where I'm looking for a variety of lock him down, and now I have possible scenarios where I can attack. So anytime I'm going with somebody bigger and stronger, I will attack. I will take the initiative. And guess what, guys? If you're a blue belt and you've been training for a year and a half, and you get a decent wrestler, it doesn't have to be really elite, a decent wrestler coming in, he might get the better of you initially, but if you don't attack, he's always going to get the better of you. So if you attack and he passes your guard and taps you, that's part of the learning process. You have to do that. You have to figure out, how do I tie this guy up? How do I make him engage? On your terms. He's engaged on his terms. You got to make people engage on your terms. When you engage people on your terms, you will win. All right, guys. So I hope that answers most of the questions that you've had. If there's any sort of last minute quick questions to go over, is there anything popping up?
No.
What we're going to do, guys, is I can address the questions next time, obviously. Feel free to send topics. Please don't send them to me tomorrow, because they will get buried in all the other messages I'm getting on a daily basis. So the next one we're going to do July 5th. You know, a few days before, if you want your questions answered or addressed on Roll with the Fox, I'm not quite sure what it is, a video conference or Facebook Live. Just send me questions. The best place probably is to put them in the in the announcement that I make, so I don't have to go. You know, I don't manage my Instagram page. I don't manage the school Facebook page. I do manage my own personal Facebook page. So if you guys have any questions, you know, 2 days before, write them on the post where we're announcing the next date for the Roll with the Fox. Or, you know, you can also message me personally. Again, it's better to do it closer to the time off, or closer to the date off, so that way it doesn't get buried in all the other messages that I'm getting. Do we have anything else? All right, guys, thank you for listening, and tune in next time.